Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, David Null, also known as that crazy Hawkeye Two Feathers. And we got a rainstorm, thunderstorm going on right now is the reason I was late coming on. Um, and I just decided, what the heck. I made preparations and rearranged in here. Sometimes my roof leaks, guess where? Right over the computer. But I greet you all with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continuously and constantly and all the time praying that each and every one of you will learn to accept and receive the gifts, the healing, the wisdom, and the knowledge from the universe. And so, welcome this evening on let's see, Monday night. Yes, in February 2020. And it's a rainy night in Georgia. And the subject tonight, or today, or wherever you may be, is about our spiritual path. Now, there are lots of different variations on, hey, project, how are you? Good evening or good morning, wherever you may be, or good afternoon. But in our spirit journey, in our spirit path, now, there are those of us who have read Edgar Casey, and I learned about Edgar Casey back in the late '60s, early '70s, and I did a lot of reading and a lot of study, and I realized there was a lot of things that just made sense to me when I was having a lot of conflict with the Catholic Church and my, being an altar boy and all that kind of crazy stuff. That's I've discussed that in other videos, but it saved me because I was like, there's another reality to this. And that it's that we have the opportunity as spirits before we take this, our mission on, to accept it or not. And some crib deaths can sort of be, if you want to think about this, in that the spirit has an opportunity up to so many months or whatever to say, you know what, I've decided not, I don't want this. So now you can take that and believe it, or, hey, Michelle, how are you? Now, and Casey had talked about this, and there's other religions and other factions and other folks who, um, I hate to use the term believe the same way, but they have similar philosophies, let's say. Well, we'll leave it at that. Similar philosophies. And so these similar philosophies, in that before we take on this human form this time in our reincarnation, and it's not so much about karma, because when we get into different realms, karma isn't near as important as it is right now. And the reason is that we need to work our karma out on this planet for what we've done on this world. And if we do well in this world, it adds up in the spirit world. So whether or not we're actually making it up. Now, for me personally, I'm here on this place, on this piece of property at this time to try to help right some wrongs that I was on this property almost 200 years ago, and is my guess. And I was a horrible person, and I'm here to try to rectify some of that stuff. Anyway, but that's my own personal journey. Now, so we have, some people will call them a soul contract. Hi, Mary. If I didn't say hi, I'm saying hi. Okay. Sorry about that. But so in our soul journey, our soul contract, what did we agree on up yonder before we come down here? Did we come down here to rectify something? Well, I know I did, because of all the and maybe sometime I'll discuss that in a separate video, just the things that linked me to here and how I got back here all these years later. But anyway, a lot of steps came in for me to be here now, kind of thing. But anyway, so, but in all of our lives and all of our soul contracts, we had a sort of a buffer zone where, let's say, 6 months. Crib deaths are usually within the first four. I hate to say it, but sometimes it's better off. I mean, you know, my family has had, incidents of stillborn and things and stuff. Anyway, won't go into that. But so I understand how that can feel within the family and so forth. But soul contract, what has that got to do with now? Well, for me, I can look back over 67 years and go, wow, like I was talking about yesterday about puzzle pieces. And lo and behold, after I did the video yesterday about puzzle pieces and so forth, I noticed in the news there was a lot of other people just discussing puzzles and pieces. And I was like, that was just sort of weird. But anyway, coinky dink, not in the same text that I was, but the words popped up all over the place, some on YouTube and other places. It was just kind of quizzical. But anyway, so our soul journey. Hey, Millie Cow, blessings to you. Life is full of eerie coincidences. Yes, some of them will just make you scratch your old noggin. You know what I mean? But anyway, moving on with this soul journey thing. So, our soul contract. There are so many folks right now, and some of the younger people, and I've discussed, some of the younger folk that I know and how intelligent they are. Not all of them, but some of them are just, oh my God, they are wise beyond their years. Yes, let's all give a cheers to coffee. Cheers and coffee. Thank you, Michelle. For Bob. Thank you, Bob, even with a thunderstorm. So let's all give a little coffee break. Cheers to Bob and say thank you. And to Bob, the subscriber, we're talking about Bob the AI. But anyway, so with our soul journeys, now some of us are still trying to figure out just what the hell that is, or what the hell does a soul journey mean, or my soul contract. Hmm, you know. Well, now we can break it down pretty simple. Hey, Candy Apple, blessings. Hi, everybody, back at you. I'll take notable figures for 100, Alex. Anyway, my mind went off in a tangent. I shouldn't read this over here. I get off on a tangent badly. But our soul contract. So none of us, I can't tell you what your soul contract is. I mean, we could discuss it, and I could hypothesize and sort of like, help you figure it out. But can I tell you what it is? Oh, hell no, or nor can anybody else as far as that goes. They might get close. There are some clairvoyants and people that I know that have been pretty damn close on some things, but in other things, they were just nowhere near close. I mean, like out of the ballpark. So our soul contracts, but we can, those of us who hang out within this group, and Brian, Milky Way Messengers, and other folkses, we understand something. We understand that we want to promote love. We understand we wish to promote fellowship between peoples, conversation and help and nurturing. So did we choose that before we came here? Was that our soul contract, that we would just be decent people? Now, for me, I know that my soul contract was a lot deeper, because I've had incidences, easy for you to say, of my mother Mary, messages and appearances, and holy crap, and as a kid and so forth. But so for me, it was different. But still, I tried to get out of it for a long time. I tried to renegotiate my contract, if you will, and there was nothing doing. Now, but to the point, though, I tried my best to drink myself to death, drug myself to death, both both me and also by the medical profession. So, I did everything possible to not do what I should be doing. So I made it harder on myself when actually it wouldn't have been that hard all along. But I'm my worst enemy. Sometimes we are our worst enemy. I bet you, Millie Cow, you understand that part, don't you? And but with that said, though, but so our soul contract. Now, here's the thing that I've been kind of wondering over the years. Is it predetermined? Are we predestined? Now, I remember back in school and in other theological kind of conversations and things, are our lives predestined? I want to turn left. No, the car is going to turn right, regardless of if I want to make a left turn or not. No, I want to go this way. Ow, zoom, and down you go. Are we that predestined? Or are we predestined to have certain experiences within our life? Or that certain instances. Now, I had a really horribly severe head injury back in 1973, which started some of my craziness. I mean, I was a little weird to begin with, but I was trying to straighten myself out, honestly, truly. Had a job, was working on a sports car to race in Sebring. I had ambitions and I was working on it. And then I had the accident, not my fault. But so things change. Was that predestined for me to happen? When I was playing football, I was getting really good at track. There's a thing on the wall back here where I was our track team back in 1967 won the state championship in Florida for the B class, and it's no one in our school has ever been back to state like that and won like we did back then. And we broke some records that are still haven't been broken in all these years. So I'm really proud of that. And I was part of that track team. I ran the 3:30 leg of the sprint medley for the last race, which put us over the top, and we won. Yay us! But anyway, so it is an achievement. But the thing is, I got my leg broke, so I couldn't run track, I couldn't play football, I couldn't do any of those things. I had to go in the hospital and have my legs sawn in half and straightened out. I was in a cast for over a year. I had to go through therapy for a year after that. And I mean, get messed up. And the fact that I can walk today is it's amazing. And the fact that I have the range of motion, I haven't had this much range of motion in my leg since before I broke my leg in 1967. So you say, all things are possible in my realm, because I never would have thought I could bend my knee the way it is. I can bend it now versus the accident that happened back then. It was horrible. It was broken in 4 places. They had to pin it back together. It was nasty. So, but to the point though, I've lived through all of this. Now, was that part of my soul contract? Did I agree to that up there? Because if I did as a spirit, holy crap, the pain and the agony and my feet. But the idea that, did we choose all of this, or have we chose a particular path, but then crap got in our way, called life, called other people, other incidents. Another car has an accident and they slam into you, and that causes a ripple effect. Was it intended for you? Were you supposed to be a sidelight incident of somebody else's accident? You know what I mean? You were just a little too close for, somebody. It was somebody else's lesson, but you got drawn into theirs. Now, was that part of the contract? Well, now we could debate this until when we reach the other side. But here's the deal. I can attest that I didn't want to go to war. I don't like the idea of killing things. And I hunted. I would still do so. I have gutted things and cleaned deer, and where the deer and the antelope play. No, rabbits. I used to hunt rabbits back in the day. I've plucked chickens. I've done that kind of thing. Not really into it. Okay. But can I do it? Yes. Could I do it? Well, if I really had to, okie dokie. But so that's just a lesson. It's that I choose not to do it, but I still have the information. Now, the only way to learn how to skin a deer is to do it. Now, you might not ever want to do it again, but the only way you're going to find out if you can do it, how to do it, is to do it. You can watch a video all you want to, but when you get right in there and you start doing the doing, totally different. So in our spirit realm, in our soul contract, for example, we might have got a little, outline of how things are going to go, but it didn't give us any detail as to what was going to happen in our lives. Now, some of those could be the choices that we have made. So the path might have been actually pretty simple for us. Some of us not, because how can you learn if you don't have a crappy experience once in a while? I mean, I hate to say it, but if nothing bad ever happens to you, have you learned anything at all in the spirit journey? I'm just hypothetical. There are people who live these really pristine, really nice lives. Of course, I've known some folks and a couple folks sort of close in, and when you find out, it's not all that happy, gamey, looky on the outside kind of thing. And it's like, oh, there's a lot of turmoil under there. We show our turmoil. We fight in public, At least we air it. But then there are the people who like, well, we won't do this in public. But man, anyway. So, but in our soul journeys, one of the things in all of the stuff that's out there, and I mean like in religions and things and stuff, and the Christian religion, God gave us free will. Now, let's stick with that. We've got our soul mission if we choose to accept it, like Mission Impossible. And maybe some of our missions are danged impossible or dang near impossible, depending on what we have, supposedly have to go through or something like that. So, but the thing is, at the bottom of it all is we have a free choice. If you choose to make a right, to make a right turn, then make a right turn. But is that right turn going to give that butterfly ripple effect down the line that is an unintended consequence? So I did a video about unintended consequences. We really want to help somebody, but in the end, it actually makes the situation worse. Sometimes for yourself, and sometimes horribly for other people, and that are trying, and you're trying to be of help, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. So in our soul journey, we have choices. We always have a choice. We can choose to turn left right now, or exit stage right, as Snagglepuss would say. But now, with that said, though, what are the consequences? Well, now for me, for not following, I was going to say follow orders, but I really don't like that. To follow my path, and that it was laid out, asked to do, and that I've chose to for a long time. The Mother Mary thing, it was just all a hallucination and an illusion. I was a little kid. I didn't really see it. And then it happened again here in my own house when I was straight. And I went, well, maybe. Okay. So I had to, upgrade my faith and take a look inside and look at the choices that I had made up to that point to have the opportunity to re-examine my own soul contract, my own soul journey. What should I accomplish? Now, it's not that I go out and try to create havoc. Okay. I'm just not that kind of person. And I've learned back in 1998, 99 to cool my jets, because I was always very boisterous and people always thought I was being mean or I was mad, when it's just sort of me. And oh God, you should hear the rest of the family talk about loud. Woohoo. But anyway, My mother, God rest her, she was really loud. Hey, Dave, pass the salt. And she was sitting right next to you. So, that was my family. So, and sort of still is in a way. But anyway, but the idea though that, oh Lord have mercy, I had to learn how to tone down. People were misunderstanding what I was saying because of my tone of voice and how I outwardly acted, et cetera, et cetera. So, and all of this, so for the last 22 years, easy, I've really been in a really different mode than my previous life. Okay. Not that I went out and tried to hurt people again, but I did get drunk a lot. And, sometimes I was never a fighter. If anything, I'd just slobber on you. And, but to the point, I was a lush and a drunk, and I didn't have to be. Later on, when I quit drinking, I still went to some of the cast parties and stuff. I didn't drink, didn't have to. I had a great time. Well, have a drink, Dave. Don't need one. Sorry, but I'm good. And it made me proud to do that and be able to feel that way. So in my soul journey, I overcome the alcohol. I've overcome most of the drugs. I still smoke my little bowl here, but that's nature's herb versus taking pharmaceuticals. And I'm off most pharmaceuticals. I still take my ibuprofen, and I'm still on my nasal things, but mostly just on vitamins. So I've changed my tone and said, okay, here I am. I'm 67. And now this has been going on for several years, but I choose to feel better in myself. I choose to be physically better so I can be more spiritually better. So I've tied the two together, and they are tied together. So not that a person who's in a wheelchair can't be spiritual, not my point. But I was in a wheelchair and said, no, I ain't dying like this. So it was my choice, and here I am at this point. Now, what does this have to do with the real world and what our chances are? Well, in the video I did yesterday about, we are all puzzle pieces. And our because we have met here in this forum and other forums, we are linked because of that. So there's more to this universe, and the more we become aware of it, the more we become aware of maybe what our original soul contract was. Okay. Our original soul contract may not to have had to go through 1,000 different horrible experiences to share on YouTube, although I've had my share. But it's more that we all learn to be spiritual again, and that we are connected, and we always have been, which is what? Yeah, we've always been connected. We still have our soul, we have our spirit intact, and some of us have had our spirits fractured, but a lot of us are learning how to pull our spirits back together and become whole again and put our own puzzle pieces together so our picture is whole. Project, are you talking to me about healing self? Yes. It's by choice. Now, there's still a few issues, but I use herbal medicines and vitamins and things of that nature, but I still got I'm 67. I should have some quirky things wrong with me. But to the point though, no, a lot of it is that I refuse to give up. I was sore today. I went outside and flipped the trailer over and put the tires on it and finished bolting it together. I'm sore as the dickens for doing so because that son of a gun is heavy. But I got the wheels on. It's out there in the yard before the rain came. But anyway, but yes to the healing. And yes to I'm still working on trying to put my mind back together after they destroyed it with all those chemicals and the flashing lights and giving me seizures, and yow, that hurts. But in the soul journey thing is though I can look at all this and go, yeah, but what is the bottom line? The bottom line is, let's think about this, is connecting with other people with like-minded views. And so that we can have a place, like some folks go to church. You guys, I hang out with Brian, we hang out with other people. I hang out in other chats sometimes in the background and lurk. But there are many times though, it's like, but so it's so that we stay active members, so that we can keep our connections going. But it gives us the opportunity to look at ourselves and go, wow, okay, I'm here. I wish to go here, in whatever that may be. So we can fulfill our soul journey without having to jump off, without having to climb Mount Everest. Because what could have been all of our like-minded beings thing, we may have had just one simple goal, was to reconnect with other people, and that's what our job is. It may not be anything more than that, but that we are truthful, that we are honest, that we respect one another, we show honor, and you all do. And so by doing so, are we fulfilling that basic thing? What are you here for? To help others to understand their own enlightenment, to help other people in whatever way we can. So, but do we have choices? Sure. Are we predestined? Well, no, because I've fallen off the path a bunch of times, got my butt kicked for doing it, but that was my journey. But the long and the short of it is, though, but I was still basically a good person. I would still stop and help you change a tire. I would still go out of my way if somebody really needed me for something. I mean, there are still people who call me at 2 a.m. going, I knew you'd be up. When maybe I really wasn't, but that's okay. And that it was, and so I've been available to many people over the years at 2 a.m, or 3 or sometimes 4 a.m. I'll get a phone call and I go, hey man, you remember me? Oh, I just knew you'd be up and I was thinking about you. Okay, whether I was or not the point. I have made myself available to people for whatever their need. And if they just need to talk, they got a problem, whatever it is, because it's usually about them, but they want to call me for some odd reason. Okie dokie. Thank you. So I've accepted this for the last 30 years, or actually more than that, but it's okay. Call me for advice, I'll tell you the truth. And I think that's one of the reasons why some folks call me back. I don't pull any punches. I mean, I'll be nice about it, but I'm going to tell you the truth. But anyway, but in our soul journey, so I've watched other people who've come to me for advice make, just go, why did you do that? And then end up in jail or hurt or something or loot, and go, wait a minute, you could have chosen a bunch of other choices, but that one. Anyway, so in our spirit journeys, the wisdom of the universe is that we've learned not to do the same things over again. Hopefully, that's the definition of insanity. So, but do we still have a free will? Yep. But rather than look at my soul contract is this very complex thing, maybe our soul contracts are really simple. Just do a good job, Sparky. Remember the law of one. Do no harm. And connect with other beings. Now, what we do, how we do it in our lifetime is our free will. But I agreed, I know, to this basic premise of my soul contract to try to be a decent person, to try to, and to try to learn how to be a good spiritual person. I mean, when people asked me when I was 4 years old, what are you going to be when you grow up? I said, I'm going to be a hermit, live down in the woods on a river. River's in the backyard. And if it keeps raining, it'll really be in the backyard. Then I can kayak from the back porch here. Well, I don't actually have a back porch yet, but from from the veranda, I don't have a veranda either. But anyway, but to the point though. So, but if you think that you're stuck, well, maybe I'm not performing to the best of my abilities. Yeah, but are you staying on track with the basic premise of why are you here? Do you still pray for people? Blah, 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 blah. You know, go down the list. If you're still on the good list, seems to me that maybe you shouldn't worry so much about, well, I could be doing more. Well, maybe, but let's not be so hypercritical of ourselves to the point where we say, well, wait a minute, I'm not doing enough good, or I'm not any good at this, or people make up the damnedest excuses to not be good at something. Or maybe my opinion doesn't matter, or maybe how I feel. Y'all know, because we still collect here, is that, and I've said so myself, as many of you have said. Brian's show the other night was really, last night it was, wasn't it? Yeah, I guess. Anyway, um, and Brian, as far as I know, we're going to do a show tomorrow night, and was thinking about doing a call-in show. So if any of y'all hanging out here now, Millie Cow, Candy Apple Project, I'm going to read your stuff in a minute. I took my glasses off, so I couldn't read it. But anyway, so I would say to you, if you're still basically on course, you could be in a 50-foot sailboat with full rigging, or you could be in a motorboat with a trolling motor, you know? Whoops, there went Bob. Maybe this is some past life trauma I'm not aware of, but keep reliving. I don't remember much. Selwyn, hi. Last week made few thoughts and scribbles on the word zero, not a few minutes ago. Something reminded me your name, no, all to link to zero. By synchronization, you are live. You are called Null. Yeah, my last name is Null, Null, and it's the null set, null and void, but it's the null set. It's the empty set. It's not zero. It's empty. Yeah, I've been living with that one for a long time, Selwyn. But anyway, with the soul journey and contract stuff, some folks are, I think they're trying to, I don't know. It's like a guy in his having a midlife crisis, going down and buying a big red sports car. They seem to not necessarily, they want to overdo it. Well, I'm going to get more crystals because that's going to make me better. Or I'm going to do more in this because that's going to help me out more. When maybe not necessarily. And some people, they put their expectations forward, thinking it should be like this, and they're offended when it doesn't turn out just exactly the way they want. And in my own life, I look back and I go, wow, man, I remember an incident where I over expected. Okay. I went somewhere and thought, wow, this is going to be great. And it sucked, So I put all this energy into how great it was going to be. And man, I couldn't wait to get home, kind of thing. So, and then there were times when I was like reluctant to go somewhere and I had a great time. So go figure, you know what I mean? But with that, yeah, I'm an empty set, Selwyn. The null set. Yeah, there's a lot to be said. At first, as when I was growing up in science and stuff, and I paid attention, I always liked science, not so much in chemistry with all the H2OE thingies, but I understood if you mix this and that, you were going to get a blue, a volcano, vinegar and baking soda, okie dokie. But anyway, and if you got a good fire extinguisher, by the way, vinegar and baking soda. Baking soda on itself is pretty good, but if you got a bad oil fire, vinegar and baking soda will foam. It'll smother it, but little tidbit. Volcanoes will keep you from having a house fire, those type. But anyway, to the soul journey thing, and try to just at least stay a little bit on track with this. Every day, every single time, every instance is a choice that we make. So by staying with it's sort of like just sticking with the outline. What you do in between, yeah, you kind of ad libbing it. You know what I mean? And so it's like, well, it says I should do this on Tuesday. How I get there, what do I do, blah, 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 who I meet, what do I say, what do I wear that day, doesn't matter. But okay, so you're going to learn about spirituality. Okay. Does it tell you how? Well, I'm going to be a Catholic and well, I did that one. Found out. Then I was told, go learn Buddhism by a nun. Okie dokie. And then I learned about this. Then I learned about that. Then I had these other experiences. Go learn about medicine men and shamanism through the Native Americans because of my own bloodline this time through. And connect to Mother Earth because of previous, incarnation here that I needed to straighten out. So, and I needed this spirit to be able to understand Mother Earth and nature in a way that, I'm sorry, folks that live in glass houses and in concrete buildings talk a good line, but until you've lived in a teepee or a lodge, and until you've slept on the ground like that, and and I've been through some brutal winter storms in a teepee and some nasty rain. I mean, I've been, let me tell you, they'll keep you, a good one will keep you dry and well, but it still ain't the Ritz. But for people who say, well, I went camping once, in an RV, want to tell me about the experiences of Mother Nature. I'm sorry, how many times have you slept in a lodge? How many times have you put up an honest to God, the Indians hate Native Americans hate to call them teepees. That's white man's word, but it's a lodge. Okay, but there are different types of lodges. There are the Western or the Plains, there are the this ones and that, a lot of different types of styles of lodges. But anyway, so they're teepees. But to the point, and then when people say, well, I always want to live in a teepee, and then when they get in one, they go, I've had enough of this, I'm ready to go rent a motel room. Well, but I'm not. Bye. Take your stuff, But it's cold in here. Yeah, it's snowing outside. It's 23 degrees and there's a blizzard. You wanted to stay in the teepee. This is a real event. And so, but I didn't know. You didn't know it was going to be 23? We're in Tullahoma, Tennessee in the middle of November, and you didn't know it was going to be cold? I'm like, but anyway. But for me, I was like, bundle up. It's you have to go with the experience. But there are people who live like that to this day. And people say, well, what did you learn? Well, go stay in one. Go stay with people who understand Mother Earth because they sleep on her every night. They are careful where they walk. They're when they walk, they're religious when they walk on the planet. They know it's alive, so they just don't stomp around and don't pay attention. They literally there was this one medicine person that he didn't like to be called a medicine man, but in technicality he was. Hey Tim, how are you? I jump in here. Michelle, Candy Apple. You're in Cookville? Yeah, I've been to Cookville actually. Candy Apple. You know where Crossville is? Tennessee. My mother lived there for quite a few years. Been through there a few times too. Yeah. Used to go up to Tennessee all the time and do puppet shows. I love Tennessee. Literally tried to move up there, but I got sent back down here. But it's okay. I understand now. But man, I miss traveling to Tennessee. I'm gonna get my truck ready, and I'm gonna bring my kayaks, and I'm gonna come visit some folks. I'm gonna go play on some rivers and lakes that I wanted to play in years ago, but I didn't have a kayak. Now that I'm retired, I can do stuff like this, but I got to get my truck ready and be able to make the trip. And there are some days I just don't have it in me to drive. I should not be on the road myself, But I've been a good driver. I've only hit deer, and shame on them. They're the ones that jumped out in front of me. Hey, David Castle, greetings back. Beautiful. Come on, huh? Yeah, I would if I could. Yep. I miss that area. Was around Tullahoma a lot over, I don't know, 10 years. I was in Tullahoma 3, 4 times a year, spring once or twice in the summer. I had a couple of gigs that were repeats, and then we did a powwow in the fall up there in Tullahoma. That was for Veterans Day. Veterans? Is that November? Anyway, and my mother would come over from Crossville and visit me while I was doing puppet shows and storytelling and that kind of thing, and vendoring and all that kind of stuff. I miss being on the circuit. I do, but times are tough, times are hard, but anyway, there's one coming up down here. I think it's in maybe March or April. I have to check. I think it's in April. Down here over towards Jacksonville. I mean, it's like not very far from the Florida line in Georgia, and they have ceremonies and dances and stuff. And the folks there, I talked about it last year. Oh my gosh, it was religious, without speaking words in many ways, but to the point though. Anyway, but with our soul journeys kind of thing, us meeting here like this is part of our journey. But my point though, that sometimes I know in my own life I have overcomplicated things. I mean, made it a whole lot more difficult than it should have been. And so in this religiosity, being religious in doing something, not as in a religion, but being religious and like every morning I get up or afternoon, depending, I religiously go get my coffee. That's what I mean. Gonna get that coffee, gotta have my caffeine. So, that's a religion to me. And let's have coffee first, and then we'll talk about it. But to the point though, but have have I can't answer this, and this is a rhetorical kind of thing, but have you noticed that maybe you tried too hard? Because sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees when you're trying too hard. So trying to I finally found the word overcompensate for what I should know more by now. Well, maybe you already do. That's what I was talking about, with dead trees standing. Sometimes you just have to stand still and let stuff catch up with you. But in our soul journey, though, are we actually making it harder than it's supposed to be? I mean, we go down rabbit holes, and we do this, and we do that. What good does it do us in the long run? It gives us information. Now, I keep watching I'm always looking for titles on YouTube in different areas and stuff to see what people are bringing up. And there are still people who are just now becoming aware of the Anunnaki. They've never heard of Planet X before. I don't know where they've been, but it's the first time they've heard about this or that. What's the Philadelphia experiment? Who's Nikola Tesla? Wait, where have you people been? But just saying, there are those folks out there where there are things that I take for granted that I've known for 40 years. And I look at it and I go, you're just picking this up? It's okay, but wow, I knew this a long time ago. This is not like new stuff, but there are people who it's just now coming into their reality. It's just now hitting them, maybe it's red pill, blue pill kind of thing. You know what I mean? So with that said, there are people all over the place. And when I do these videos, I try to make sure that I'm speaking to the person, not necessarily a novice, but we are all shamans in training. I am. And so I must speak in a way with an understanding that you might know more than me. You might get it. Well, I already know that, Dave. That's really great news, and thank you, which is okay. But at the other side, there are people who are going, what, what the hell are you talking about? There's another reality. There are other realms. When I was showing pictures of orbs to people, they were like, "What?" Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, right there. Let me take another picture for you." Click. Holy shit! These dudes were freaking out. But. And so when you show people another reality and they have an awareness of themselves, I might push a button or two, give them a little nudge, but God forbid, I don't want to ever push anybody off a cliff. You know what I mean? But certain topics, certain people, if they don't know what the information is about, it's like jumping off a cliff. It's like, whoa, holy crap. That's what I was talking about the other night. And I thought about it again. I thought, you know what? Maybe full disclosure really isn't a good idea. Because the more I learned about spiritualism and the more I learned about these other things, and there are some people who are just like, what? So to try to explain any of this to them, I can't handle it. And I'm just talking about, hey, spiritualism. I'm not even talking about anything heavy. Let's just talk about a little. Bob, we love you. Thank you. Couple hesitations. Have to have a coffee break. To you, Bob. Ween. Now I forgot where it was. But in the grand scheme of things, though, I get my spirit guide message is that we need to remember kiss, keep it simple, silly, or stupid. But I kind of like the silly because we're not necessarily stupid. We're just out of practice, or we don't understand, or wait a minute. I'm sorry, I just don't understand that equation. E equals MC squared. What? But when you start, E is energy and M is mass and C is the constant, meaning the velocity, squared. In other words, you multiply it times itself. And you go, oh, well, is that what that means? Yeah. But, so in the spirit world and things, if we're trying to learn, then we're not stupid. We're just unaware. But if we just bumble through life, well, it could be considered a little bit on the dumb side, Yeah, dumbed. Right, Candy Apple. Absolutely. Billy Cow. My life right now can be summed up pretty well with the song Going to California by Led Zeppelin and the song Make Me a Believer by Crossfade. I'd link them, but YouTube won't let me send. Yeah, don't do that. I mean, I would love to, but, yeah, you're right. Don't want no copyright strikes in any way or blah, blah, blah. But yeah, to that. David Castle, divine timing might have caused cognitive dissonance if they ran into these things before they are ready for it. Michelle, that's funny. A null nudge. An empty set pushing against nothing pushing against you. You all make me laugh too. You guys are great. I swear you are. But now, my hat's off to you. Yeah. No, I'm not really getting bald, but anyway, I'm getting a little more grayer. But hey, anyway, but remember this: when things get the little bit of a weird on the side, yeah, they are amazing songs. Are we sticking with the basic thread? In other words, for example, in theater, there are times when I've been out on stage where the other person is lost. I mean, they're lost. We're having a conversation and they don't have a clue what the next line is. Now, I got good enough over the years to where I could kind of feed them a line. Well, and say, something like, well, So weren't you telling me a while back such and such? And they go, oh yeah, and that'll stimulate them for what the next little bit is, right? But when you're out on stage and there ain't nobody backstage cueing you, and you get that blank stare on your face, and I've been on stage too many times when people used to say, "Man, you can recover from anything." The one time we were doing Harvey, for example, and the lady was, was Harvey's sister, and she was like, "Harvey, is that you?" And she got that blank stare on her face. And I was playing Dr. Chumley. So I was like, is that Harvey? And all she could do was nod or shake her head no. She not another line. And there were like two whole pages of dialogue that was hers and mine in our little scripts, right? And not a word from her poor Miss Celeste. She went and hid in her dressing room during intermission. She thought I was bad at her, and I was busting out laughing. And people were going, wasn't she supposed to say something right there? I gave them all her lines. I gave them to her. She just nodded up and down and shook her head. But anyway, so in life, sometimes it's like, but she stuck with it. She didn't walk off stage. She didn't break character. She was lockjawed and couldn't say anything, but we stuck with it. So always remember, what's the play about? So, okay, so what's your life about? Well, I'm doing this thing and that thing, and I was planning on doing that. So maybe you need a little bit of null nudge to get you in the right direction of calling a friend or hanging out or going volunteer, whatever that it may be in your world. But versus, do you know everybody's lines in the play? No, because they're not your lines. Although I've learned that knowing the other guy's line sometimes comes in real handy when you're standing out in front of 500 people in live theater, Um, I love it. It's a blast. It gives me a chance to ad lib, but also to get out of a sticky situation, but in life with our soul journey and our soul contracts. So we can make choices all along the way. We can choose to stop doing it. There's nothing in the books that says we can or can't or should or shouldn't. Now, here's something earlier on when I was contemplating and meditating on this. And it's a little late here, but I think it's important to bring it up nonetheless. It's what about our moral obligations? Now, morality wise, well, that's going to be a whole nother topic for discussion about what are moral obligations. So, do you have a moral obligation to be like a happy person? Do you have a moral obligation if your soul journey is to like try to be nice to people and you ain't doing it? Or you refuse because, well, I'm too shy. Well, there's a lot to that. But there are other ways that you can get involved without actually having to, there are ways. But are you just too chicken to do anything? But to the same point, though, and I always go back to the outline, if actors, when I was directing folks, and listen, don't panic. What is the story? What's this play about? So in your life, what's your play about? You're taking care of kids, grandkids, doing this, doing that, blah, blah, blah. But what are your choices in between? So follow your outline. You've got all kinds of choices in between. But always but what do I feel is morally right with what I'm doing? Am I helping people or am I pissing them off? Am I stirring the pot? I mean, there were times when I can't believe it, I was actually a troll of my own accord. Like, you people just don't know what the hell you're talking about. And you should learn and blah, blah, blah. Whoops. That is not what I want out there. Mother Mary came and slapped me in the side of the head for that one. Oh, God, I went through a bit. Oh, that hurt. Oh, man, I got smacked. Learned a big lesson. But I think a lot of us have learned that lesson in many ways. It doesn't pay to be that mean person in a chat room. You don't like what they're talking about? Leave, you know? But at the same point, there are times when I'm really good for one-liners. If you'll notice in chats, I try not to write paragraphs anymore. I'll just throw out a thought, then I'll throw out another thought, and think, you know. So versus, well, I'm going to write a paragraph about this and discuss all of this and try to explain what I feel about this. Nah, you know, I had to learn that sometimes abbreviation gets a lot more done than that. Not this has nothing to do with you guys writing what you write. I love reading your stuff, but for me, I was trying to get too much across in a bunch of words, and sometimes I could get it done with a sentence. Is my point. So, and other times it's not. Sometimes it's like, well, that subject there deserves 2 hours worth of a video, versus a one-liner in a chat. But so our soul contracts, remember, Creator always gave us free will. It's one of the gifts we do have. Now, something came up and I was watching a movie and I was thinking about it. I was like, we have free will. But what if, now, going back to the days of the Nazis, people were doing moderately well. They lived together in these villages and cities and towns. And then this group of folks come in with tanks and guns and screwed it all up. But to the point, though, did those people have a free will? I'd have just said, if I don't want to die, but if I got to do something nasty to somebody else, get it over with. Shoot me, get it over with. It's only going to hurt for a minute, hopefully. But to the point, though, our free will is like German says, getting your ass over here, and I can say, well, you getting your ass and kiss mine, and then or I could say, yes, boss, and go along, or I could just say, give him the finger and get shot. So we have a free choice. And people say, well, I didn't really have a choice in the matter. Yes, you did. But they were going to shoot me. But that was your choice. But. Now, there are circumstances in life where you just say, but I was minding my own damn business. Listen, I had helicopters fly over my house and arrest me for 6 lousy, crummy looking marijuana plants way back in the day. And so I know what the Viet Cong feel like when a Huey hovers over you with a guy going, hold still or we will shoot you. We have a high-trained sniper over weed. But, yeah, that was many years ago. But it honestly did happen to me. And here in my own yard kind of thing. What? So it's like, so you're minding your own business, not hurting a damn soul. And then, the SWAT team's in the helicopter and people are coming down your driveway and you got people gung-ho mojos with guns in your face and you're hauled off to jail for a couple of plants. Do I know how that feels? Oh, hell, yeah, I do. So you can be minding your own business and good night, Cindy. Much gratitude and love back. Good night. But to the point, though, so you can be minding your own business and crap happen. But it didn't change my point of view. I was still going to be a good person. I even got through to one of the lieutenants. He let me ride in the front seat for crying out loud. We're talking as we're driving into the jail. And, man, you should move to Alaska or Weeds for, I mean, I was just arrested by the GBI in a helicopter. So, but to the point, though, I could have been an asshole and I would have been beaten up and hogtied in the back seat of the patrol car. Not the same. So how you act, how you react to even the lousiest situation. But I didn't give in to as who I was. I became more of who I am. I was like, well, you got me. I'm handcuffed. Come on, let's go to jail. Come on. Well, are you dealing anybody? Did you see them marijuana plants? I can't even get a joint myself. How can I sell any of this? And so it was like, well, we got to take you to jail anyway. And so versus, this really big, mean and nasty stuff. And there was some really nasty gung ho mofos was holding my head down in a fire ant bed. It was not fun. Anyway, enough about me, right? But to the point though, so I've been there when people say, but I was just going along minding my own business. But what happened after that? Did you still mind your own business? Well, I still have, and blah blah blah. But did they change my mind? No, I'm still. I just became more determined. Just and then of course then they put you on probation, so you really got to be nice. And they took my driver's license away and all that kind of stuff. But to the point though, um, I applied. I've been on the voter registry now for all these years after that incident. I could get my gun rights back if I really pressed it, but I don't really care about a firearm. I got a bow and arrow I can hurt somebody with. And by the way, a bow and arrow will go through a flak jacket where a 45 won't. Just saying. So you can have your 9mm shooting at a cop, but if you got one arrow and a crossbow, or even one of these longbows that I got here in the house, they ain't coming any farther. That it will penetrate, especially in a short distance. Oh, Candy's out. Cindy is right. Wow, how do you know? Not all. Candy, okay. But anyway, but to the point though, do the best you can, regardless of the circumstances. Stay with your basic core values. Stay with the idea I'm going to stay in love regardless, even if you say screw you and they shoot you. But do you have a free will all the time? Do you have to nitpick what your soul contract is? No. Just be a good person. Thank you, Michelle. And so it has been an hour. So I've taken up enough of your time. It's lovely hanging out. I don't know if you can hear the rain on the roof, but the little thunderstorm kind of thing. It's not thundering too bad. I haven't seen any lightning in a few, but we got some rain coming down here. So, but I do love you all. Cosmic hugs to everyone all the way around because you know you I was thinking earlier, well, should I really do another video 2 nights in a row or 3 nights in a row or whatever? And I was like, this gets boring to y'all, right? And then you all show up, and I'm like, but maybe not. So I have to have faith in, but the subject I think is important in that I know that it's important to me. Hey, Delaney, how are you? Blessings. We are getting the rain in Eastern Kentucky tonight as well. Oh, you're in Kentucky, David? I think I missed that when you were on the air. My original family, guess what's from Hazard, Kentucky. Yeah, I was my paternal father. Last name is Lee, and they're all from Eastern Kentucky in the southern Eastern Kentucky, and Hazard County or Hazard. I can't remember. There's a town there, but anyway, yep. I'm 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 sort of from Kentucky, even though I was born in Cincinnati for crying out loud. Uh, I was almost in Kentucky. I've always had something for Kentucky. When I've been through it, I just love it through there. But anyway, um, where was I going with this? Oh. Ashland. Yeah, of Ohio and West Virginia. Yeah, I've been to Ashland several times. I've been through there, stopped and got gas, took pictures, and went across the river because my relatives live in Ohio. So I'd come through Ashland and cross the river there and go up through southern Ohio. Absolutely. Been there. Yes, absolutely. Um, wow. Yeah. I kind of sort of, well, I don't know right where you're at, but yeah, I have been up there. Yeah, absolutely. In the Ohio River, man, um, it's a lot wider than I thought. But when I think about the Flint River down here, it's pretty wide as well. And the Flint River, which is runs all the way from Atlanta down into uh, absolute northern Florida into Lake Seminole. They've got 37 feet of water, and 36 foot is the flood stage. And you think about 37 foot of water just in a river. Normally it's like 15 or 20, in some of the deeper spots. 36 foot of water. That's a crap load of water. But anyway, I was looking at flow rates and stuff, and there are several creeks and streams around here. We need this flood. We need high water right now to recharge the land underneath, because we've been in such a severe drought these last few years. And the farmers who use deep irrigation, this property, not my house or this land, but this property down here in South Georgia and Alabama and North Florida, it needs recharging horribly, big time. So we need this rain a lot. And we're not getting near as much as we normally get, but hey, we'll take it. You know what I mean? Um, but my friends, I'm glad that you allow me to come into your homes, and I'm glad that we can have these cosmic hugs together and share this time. I got a butt cramp going here, Michelle. You know that. And I am working on a butt cramp boogie. I got my two guitars tuned up and about that 432. And I'm trying to get my fingers back. I smashed my finger again, and so it makes it a little hard for me to bend this thing, but I'm getting it back into shape. But uh, got another little song I was working on the other night, a little bit of inspiration, and maybe one of these days I'll pull it out and play it for y'all and see what you think. But for now, I'm going to get off of here and go get me another bowl of cereal. It's butt cramp o'clock. Michelle, you are so good with this stuff. We should have done ad lib together on stage. I bet you would have been good at that, or could still be good at that. Yes, I agree. My friends, Cosmic Hugs, and as ever, and I do mean this for every time, I continue to pray that each and every one of you, Ween, each and every one of you, surprised you, didn't I? Each and every one of you will accept and receive the gifts, the healings, the knowledge, and the blessings from the universe. I continue to pray that each and every one of you will accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the gifts, and the wisdom from the universe. And I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept and receive and to share the wisdom and the knowledge that is freely available in the universe. In Wisconsin, that where you at, Miss Charles? Ween, take me an hour and a half to get to Cincy. Uh, yeah. Cincy is a long way over there. Hey, David, by the way, have you ever been up there to see the Serpent Mound since you've been up there? I was up around. My first wife and my daughter has relatives up around Chillicothe, and I did a video about. I think it may still be up on YouTube, but about the petroglyph in southern Ohio. And if you're an hour and a half from Cincinnati, you ain't really that far from, Serpent Mountain, that other place. But blessings back to you, Michelle. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But I want to go back up there. I want to go back to, to see all the spheres and everything that I took pictures of there at the petroglyphs in Ohio. They were all these sphere beings, and they were talking to me. I'm like, now I couldn't see them, but I could feel them and hear them. And they were telling me how to take the pictures and so forth. In fact, yesterday, after all this time, one of the beings contacted me and said, "Do you still remember me?" And I'm from Ohio, and I went like, "Yeah, okay, just wanted to let you know we're still here." I was a surprise, but anyway, I'm going to try to go to this spring when it warms up. Man, if I could get up there, I got so many relatives up there in Ohio, and I would love. I have not seen Serpent Mound, but I've been to the petroglyphs twice, and I got to go again. But Serpent Mound, something something is luring me to Serpent Mound. Wouldn't that be cool if we could all make a trip up there, or some of us anyway, at least in the area? If I get up to Ohio, by golly, I'll I'll get in touch with you, David, and see if we can't catch up or whatever. That'd be cool, man. In my humble opinion. But anyway, my friends, field trip, absolutely. Brian and Milky Way was discussing going out to Arkansas, and I don't know if I can have my truck ready by this spring that soon, but I got to get my truck worked on anyway. And I got the trailer now. It's out in the yard. I put the axle and the wheels and everything on it today. So in the next week or so, I'll be putting the bottom in and getting her getting the lights hooked up and all that kind of stuff. Because I got 3 kayaks and a canoe, and I can't all get them on my truck. And when I go places, I like to be able to if I want to go somewhere, I want my boat motor and my trolling motor. Not that I go fishing so much as I just like to travel and paddle. Yes, I do have a calling to go to the Serpent Mound, and I don't have a clue. But in looking at it, how about this for one? And I've been pretty good at finding stuff, it's been kind of weird. I'll see something in my head, and when I visit the place, I'll go there and I'll find something. It may be a rock but anyway, Serpent Mound, it's the way it's laid out. It's over here somewhere. It's all I can say. And looking at it on the map from the sky, it's not on this end. It sort of comes around, but it's over here somewhere. And they found something over there too that was like they hadn't really noticed before. And so, but there's something down over here. Of all the places on the mound, it's down over here. Who knows? But I would like to go find out. I've been to Ohio a couple of times and had to not drive right by it, but going, damn it, I'm in Ohio and I can't stay. I got to go back home. I got to get back south. So, my friends, I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love, everybody. And to the Silent 72 and to Dante's crew and everyone and to all the Charistas, I continuously pray and continue to pray for success and for wisdom and health to all those angel beings and to all those who are fighting against the evil and to those who are questioning whether or not you're doing anything right. If it's for the good, keep doing what you do. Cheers, my lovelies, and until next time. Yes, I would love to meditate there too, as well, David Castle. I want to. Let me tell you that the um, many Native Americans around Chillicothe and other places too go to the petroglyphs. It's high energy. There's a little springy thing there, and the petroglyphs and the thing. And a lot of the Native Americans go there just to sit and meditate. And that's might actually, well, I can't say it'd be closer than Serpent Mound, but David, look into that too. I'm speaking from experience. I will go back to Ohio just to go there. That's how strong I am about that. So, my friends, until next time, keep it between the ditches. And if it's raining in your area, really be careful. So, until next time, be strong, be safe, have faith, my friends. We'll get through this one way or the other. Until next time, it's TTFN from South Georgia. Ta-ta for now with a rainy night in Georgia. Love you all. Bye.